Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to today's video, or I was supposed to make this video probably yesterday, but I did pull off a 40-hour stream or so. And I just woke up pretty tired, but now I feel rejuvenated, and I'm going to make a video helping everyone out, and a lot of people have the same questions. As you can see here, this is my character. It got fully set up. Nice to see that Deadeye did end up beating our Pathfinder for the dominant Venom Gyre archetype. I should have probably told everyone that the Pathfinder build is going to be a bait, but I wasn't 100% sure. And yeah, so I know that Captain Lance actually re-rolled off the build. But a lot of people here are wondering, how does the Deadeye Venom Gyre build work and how do you farm all your currency? And as you can see here, I pretty much just did Legion the whole time. It was pretty much an incredible Legion clear. There are some cool new Legion nodes that make it a lot more fun. But at this point, I woke up, I saw the Legion prices, and they've pretty much tanked, and that's pretty much what I expected. The Legion prices always go down a lot, so as you may know, 5-way people are going to be making bank, and that right there is a Mariketh emblem. But very, very impressed with Vol Venom Gyre. It's a very, very strong skill, and I do have some upgrades left, and as we can see here, this is the character with the MTX. Now, tons of questions are being asked. I'm going to try my best to answer all these questions, mainly about how do you actually upgrade the character, and should you do Sanctum, and what is your personal upgrade. Now, like I said, people are also wondering what to do on the Atlas. Now, for the Atlas, I don't really think that people should copy it, because it's very specific to what you want to do and what you enjoy. And at this point, the emblems are a lot cheaper. So as you want to know, if you want to find a farming strategy, you should find something you enjoy. And also make sure that the inputs or outputs don't get fucked up. So right here you can see Mariketh emblem is 14 chaos right now, and Templar emblem is 15 chaos. So this is probably going to lead to a very, very easy way to get to a level 100 if you buy a 5-way carry. So this was like 30 and 35 chaos last night, so the profit margin is going to vastly drop. Now I ended up having to do Sanctum. As you can see here, it's my Sanctum, and I do have a Sanctified Relic. And I have some other thoughts about Sanctum, and I'm going to release it in another video. But basically, TLDR is that Sanctum needs a lot of work, but it's a very, very cool design. And I do like the core game, not core gameplay, but the idea of how it works. But it's really poorly executed, purely because some certain builds are not viable. The feedback for hits are really bad in PoE. And there's too many bad things you get, but that's for another video. So as you can see, this is my Sanctified Relic. I'm not really sure if I could actually get a better one. From everything I saw in the... I could get a better prefix, I guess, with besides increased armor. But Intimidate is literally a 10% damage boost for this build, especially since we can't get Intimidate on our gloves since we are using unique gloves. So yeah, I was forced to do the Sanctum, and Venom Gyre actually performs pretty well in the Sanctum as long as you don't Whirling Blades on top of the boss. You have to kind of go around the boss a little bit. So let me see if I can go look in this VOD and see when I was doing the Sanctum. So you can see here, this part is you just run through stuff. That stuff is not really that crazy. So 10 chaos over at the end of the floor. And being able to move around while dodging stuff is pretty useful. So let's see if we can find some other Sanctum. Do we ever... So I'd start doing Sanctum like very end of the VOD, because I pretty much just I was kind of getting bored of mapping and doing the same thing over and over again. But let's see if we can actually find any Sanctum footage. So it's kind of hard for me to find Sanctum footage because this VOD is just so long. But basically, you just go around in circles. You don't really try to actually fight the boss, or not. You don't actually try to Whirling Blades on top of the boss, because you will instantly get resolved and die. Now, the questions we have is, how do you have mana to attack? This is a #1 question. I'm kind of sorry I messed up the guide a little bit. So I think the reason why people have so much questions is because when I go to Venom Gyre respec, they can see here that this Claw Mastery right here should be changed over to attack damage, leechness, life, and mana. I did have it in this thing right here. But a lot of people, I assume, were still running Mana Flask. So, oh wait, this is not the right one. No Cluster Berserk. So no Cluster Berserk unique variant. So right here, this thing should be attack damage, leech as life and mana. So change that over and you'll be perfectly fine. You could also take this thing right here, Clever Thief. Both ways end up working. And what bandits do you kill? You kill all the bandits for the 2 skill points. Very simple. Passive skill points are always at a premium. So for almost every single character, you can say what bandits you want to kill. Kill 2 bandits is always going to be a top choice no matter what. You could also technically help Alira. It does give you LE res and multi, but this build does still get a lot of multi, so it's not as important. Now, what do I need to swap to Venom Gyre from Poison's Concoction? And this is a very, very common question again. So if I recommend a strong swap, you go get a 5-link and then you get a 300 elemental DPS claw. So let's go see how much a claw is. So a lot of people wonder, how do you actually search for a claw? So basically you want an Imperial Claw because that's the best base. Now for the elemental DPS, you put 300. Attacks per second, you put 1.8. And then you search, and yeah, the claw is at 1 to 2 chaos. So you could buy any of these claws, 3, 4 chaos maybe, and you'll have an amazing swap. Super, super easy to do. And you also want some jewelry with some flat elemental damage. This is not really necessary. You can just craft on flat elemental damage. So I have some flat lightning damage here. So you just go to this bench, you get this, and then you craft on this. And it's a 2 alch craft. So make sure your jewelries have that, and you should have enough damage. And then make sure you also have your damage auras level. So if you have Raft, make sure it's level accordingly to your level. Make sure Venom Gyre is leveled up, and Trinity, Fork, and everything else is leveled up. And that should also help out a bunch. Now, what items are needed for Perma Berserk? Basically, Perma Berserk is a combination of 3 items. Comb Spirit gives you regen 1 rage per second for every 100 life recovery. So you want as much life recovery as possible. And wow, these gloves are still 20 chaos. That's actually really surprising. And this is still 13 chaos for an item with 217 online. So I guess a lot of people are trying out this build. And the reason we use Vol's Vision is because it gives us 400 life regen per second. And Immortal Flesh also gives us 335 life regen per second. Now, I also tried a little bit of theory crafting, and I do think that you could potentially run a synthesized belt once you get hits can't be evaded claw and get a T1 life regen, run vitality, and it gives you the same amount of regen, and it does give you, I think, like a 15-20% damage boost. So you can see here we have this state, and then we use Immortal Flesh. So switching to this belt right here that I kind of made in PoE gives you just like a 13% damage boost. Not really sure how viable that will be, but you do need a hits can't be evaded claw. Now, next up, how do you name lock? Now, this is probably the $1 million question. And if your single target sucks, you are probably not name locking correctly. So let's go try it out in Act 9 to see what we actually mean. So when we talk about name locking, and why is it called name locking? Name locking means you have a mob that you're tracking and that your character will automatically go after it. So the name has been locked. So most skills you want to have always attack without moving checked. However, Whirling Blades, you want to have it not checked. So always attack without moving supersedes name locking, because instead of following the mob, your character will just always go forward with the Whirling Blades. So when we reach the mob, we want to hover over the mob. Now, a lot of people are like, my name lock is not working. Now, the reason behind that is your cursor is probably not exactly on the mob. So if you go right here, your cursor, you're not going to be on it. So the thing has to be highlighted. It's a little bit hard to see, especially in the thick of combat, and that's kind of annoying. Now, after you do it, you hover over the mob, and then you want to hold down the button. So let me just get rid of my links right here. Well, I don't really have any links. So let me just get rid of this. So basically, you hover over the mob, and then you hold down Whirling Blades. Now, a lot of people actually had the issue where they were trying to move around too much, and they were going back and they were actually like pressing other buttons at the same time. If you press other buttons at the same time, or you hold down left click while doing it, it will not work. You want to make sure you are only holding down the Whirling Blades button so that it looks something like this. See how it goes back and forth, tracked on the mob, and you can't be like holding down your movement button or anything else, otherwise it will not work. So there you go. So there you can see if my cursor kind of went off of it, or I re-pressed the cursor. So hold down, don't press anything, and then there you go. And sometimes you can unname lock, so you just have to make sure you do it again. And that's pretty much the TLDR about how to do name locking. And I hope that very thorough guide explained it to everyone. And I guess the main point is not to press anything else or use your mouse button. And I think I left that out in the previous videos. Now, why do I do 0 damage? The reason you do 0 damage is because You didn't do enough for the swap. A lot of people link me their profiles and I see that their Venom Gyre is not leveled. They're not using the right links. When you get the 4 link, it should always be Venom Gyre, Fork, Trinity, and Nightblade. There's really no substitutes. And a lot of people don't have a 100% chance to hit. Like, you just don't have a 100% chance to hit unless you get some accuracy on your gear. And a lot of people only take 1 accuracy cluster. These accuracy clusters, you probably need to take 2 of them if you don't have any chance to hit on your gear. And if you don't have any chance to hit on your gear, it's actually very punishing for crit builds, because crit builds actually rolls the chance to hit twice. So it rolls the chance to hit the first time to see if you even hit the mob, and then after that it rolls the crit to see if you crit, and then it rolls the chance to hit again. So it's double punishing if you don't have chance to hit. A lot of people leak me profiles where they have like 80% chance to hit, and obviously you're going to be doing like nearly half of your damage. Now for the upgrade path for this build, we want 6 link to a perma berserk setup. So before you start, you want to get the 6 link. 6 link is just a generic 30 to 35% damage, or even 40% sometimes. You want to get the perma berserk setup. Perma berserk is amazing because it's also a survivability increase. It makes you take 20% less damage. And then after that, you want to buy the interrogation to boost your critical strike chance and give you elemental penetration. And that is absolutely huge, because a lot of people are wondering, why is my cast on crit not working out? And it's because you don't have enough base crit. So the brittle helps out a lot. You can also try to get brittle boots. Now, then you want to buy the tamings. The tamings are great for the damage increase, and it also provides a lot of elemental resistances. Now, a lot of people are wondering, how do you actually get the attributes? You can swap off one of your rings for an attribute ring to fix your attribute issue, and that does help out a lot. So don't run 2 tamings if you have some huge attribute issues. And the other pieces of gear you can get attributes include your boots or your shield. Now we also want to save for the omniscience after we have a baseline of gear. A lot of people wonder, how do you actually get these upgrades? And they're always wondering, should I do more upgrades? And the real answer is, once your character is strong enough, you can just start saving up your money, because if you never save it up, you're never going to be able to get that upgrade. And that's probably one of the main issues that people have. And once you get the omniscience, it solves your damage issue if you have any, which you shouldn't. And it also solves the attribute issue, and you can use any gem that you want. Now overall, Venom Gyre, Vol Venom Gyre is a lot stronger than I expected, and creates a playstyle that's very, very similar back in the day to Vol Spark or Vol Molten Shell. So maybe one day I'll end up using the Vol Lockout Sextant for maximum fun. Now the build is very, very good in Sanctum. A lot of people say, oh, this build sucks in Sanctum, and it couldn't be further from the truth. So Sanctum, you literally just want to run around. You don't want to actually, you don't actually want to be going on top of the boss. Because like, for some reason, the Sanctum is horribly imbalanced. And for melee, and if you're in melee range, you immediately die. So just whirling blades around the boss. Attack, whirling blade, attack, whirling blade. And just focus on dodging. And all these projectiles will chain off the wall into the boss because of ricochet or ricochet. So very, very good build for Sanctum. So don't listen to everyone who says that it's not that great. You just have to not whirling blades on top of the mob, and you should have more than enough damage, and you can do damage on a move. It's not going to be as good as a totem or dot build, but it should be decent. The build does perform very well. I did have a lot of people telling me that they were able to trivialize reds of horrific gear, but there are also a lot of people who struggle, so hopefully this video helped out everyone. Now for me personally, what do I want to upgrade next? At this point, I was thinking about maybe a Brass Dome, maybe a Headhunter. Now, I am in a stage, like, should I save up for the Headhunter or should I buy a Brass Dome? And I do have 2 cards. And, yeah, I don't really know what I'm going to farm. But at this point, we'll see what I get online. And I will be streaming this build live on Twitch right after when this video releases. So go check that out in the description down below. And thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know down in the comments below what your experiences were with the Sanctum and what problems you actually had. But thanks for watching. I hope you find more divines than me, and see you next time. Bye.